Hi, this is Scale Model 64, and this is my first video. I have just recently gotten into the hobby. As a fan of car design, I wanted to have my own collection of cars, and where I can't afford the real thing, I thought that model collecting would be a good way for me to have access to my favorite car designs and kind of satisfy that urge of wanting to be surrounded by the cars that I really am truly passionate about and enjoy. I used to always play with Hot Wheels growing up, so 64 scale really immediately appealed to me. I also really admire when companies are able to get intricate details on smaller scale models. So for me, it's a good mix of quality versus space saving and nostalgia. I wanted to give a shout out to Small Model Collector on YouTube. He has provided really high quality, in-depth reviews of different models that he has. He actually has the Terzo Millennio, I believe it's called, by Lamborghini, produced by MR Collection Models. And that model looked really good. And the Veneno is the other 64 scale model that company produces. And the Veneno happens to be my favorite car. So I thought it would be a good first model for me to buy, even though it was very pricey. I think this was around $125. Expensive, but it is the highest quality Veneno that I have seen. And I thought, for my favorite car, I want to just get the best, spare no expense. And there's a limited number of them, so I thought I would bite the bullet and just get it. It goes nicely on my desk. I like to look at it. I'd like to take it out of the case, but as this is my first video, I'm kind of just establishing a format. We can do an overview of the car, but I won't be taking it out of the case this video, but perhaps in the future. For my models, I like to get the factory color or the press color that they were advertised with or first shown in. Or if there's a more signature color that develops through the history of the car or some other meaningful event, I'd probably gravitate toward a color like that. But for this, I went with the Grigio Metallic. I don't remember the name of the color, but Grigio is in it. It's this nice gray with high quality detailing throughout. So let's just get started looking over the collection. One note before I start is that MR Collection models, they actually have been recruited by Lamborghini to pair MR Collection models with purchases of new Lamborghinis. I don't know if that's an option or if that's standard, but I saw the YouTuber Shmee150. He just got a Huracan STO, and the model that was delivered to him from Lamborghini was an MR Collection model. They usually do 1/18th scale, but this is one of the two 64 scale models that they produced. And the details are immaculate. I can understand why Lamborghini would have faith in using them to produce their cars. So let's just look at some of these details. So one thing I think is impressive. Let's get a focus there. Okay. So it's impressive because these are complex wheels. And if you can kind of see the little shiny bits around the rim, those are actually little holes that are important to the car's design, but I could see other car companies not delivering on that. Also, you can see the center locks, the brake calipers, the little holes on the part behind the wheel. And also these tires have the accurate design. I can't read that text, but maybe with better eyes I could. And you can see that there's tread on the tires. Really impressive. In terms of the wheel, there's really nothing else I could ask for. I don't have a reference photo here, and maybe that's something I'll use of of small model collector's style of pulling up accurate pictures. But if you can see in the middle of the center lock there, it looks to be a badge. I don't know if the detailing and color is accurate, but it is impressive. Another thing I like about this model is, and this company is, when it comes to carbon fiber, they put in the effort to make it accurate to the car's design. A lot of carbon fiber throughout, and even on the inside on the steering column, you can see carbon fiber and trim. So I think that's really impressive. In this case, I don't know if I'll be able to get a good visual of the inside, but there does appear to be accurate interior. You can see there's kind of the center console there, and there's little details painted, and looks like accurate materials. I'll probably get my flashlight and take another one of small model collectors' styles. So the exhaust vents coming out the side skirt, it's impressive. It's not just a punch out, it's a very specific cutout from the side skirt. And another thing that I'm really impressed by are these little reflectors or lights around the wheel wells. They're little pieces of actual plastic and not paint. Also, the depth of the model. If you can see these cutouts on the hood, in front of the window, in front of the windscreen, and there's just another peek at the interior. There's kind of a better, you can see the detail on the seats. All those little dots. I don't know if that is supposed to represent stitching or just a design. But yeah, I really like the depth of the model. There's no sacrifices in terms of the shape. That is a deep vent, or I don't know what you would call it, a cutout on the side behind the door. I'm getting bad focus there. But really impressive. It's a really dramatic shape, and they were able to capture it with this resin model. Really impressive. There's another one in the front up there, if it would focus. Not as dramatic, but I think that may be accurate to the car. Okay, so let's move to the front. So, I mean, the lights are accurate. Little pieces of plastic. A lot of depth in the front splitter. Accurate paint and carbon details. The cutout in the hood have the accurate connecting piece. And also, in front of the windscreen, another accurate wiper blades. Just a really impressive model. The paint job is really good as well. I like the integration on this car of the fin connecting the spoiler to the roof scoop, the air intake. Really good. Let's take a look at the back here. I mean, that is a lot of intricate detail on the rear of this car. And then there'll be even more on the actual rear, not the top rear. But there's a good sense of depth in this model. There are different cutouts that are different depths, and it doesn't seem uniform. It seems accurate to what I would expect. So let's look at the back here. So if you can see, Lamborghini is spelled out in tiny, tiny text. With my naked eye, I cannot tell what it says, but under this zoom, I can tell. And it has the Lamborghini text. Accurate carbon fiber. If you can see between the red line at the bottom that's going across and the rear lights, there's a little bit of a grill right above my finger. And that's impressive and accurate. And looks like there may be something behind that. I can't really tell. Maybe in a future video when I do open this and get a better look, when I'm a little bit more experienced and know what I want to be doing before I expose this to the elements, we can get a better look. But for now, I'm going to keep it in the case. Impressive. All these details are impressive. I'd like to get a little bit more light under there, but I don't think it's working. But it is an impressive model. I was really pleased with it, and I think maybe I have a skewed sense of cost with these things because I feel like I got into the hobby late when things are kind of expensive. It does seem to be worth the cost. It has absolutely intricate details. Look at the lines, the 3 stripes. They never bleed. It's perfect. I mean, I'd like to get the actual picture to, there is a little bit of a gap in the front, but is that something I'm gonna, with my naked eye, I can't, well, kind of can see, but at a glance, I'm not gonna be noticing that. Another thing you can see is that it appears to be a 30 or some text on the, I don't know if I would call that a bumper. I don't think this car is made to be bumping, but also you can see there's some type of decal on the spoiler. I don't know if that is to represent a mechanism for altering the state of the spoiler, because I think that this is a spoiler that you can change the angle of. But also you can see the Veneno written on the fin on the back. That's a really distinctive design element that I like a lot, that I've kind of seen since, but I think this is one of the first cars that I've seen that on whenever it came out. I admire that thin, look at those thin taillights. That's plastic, it's not paint, it's a plastic insert. Really impressive. So overall, I think this is just a really impressive model. And at this price point, I would expect to be impressed. But I think if you're looking for a model that spares no expense at this scale and really goes into the accurate details, even though they are limited in their production, MR Collection, I think they really have potential to make a lot more models. They have brand deals with other great car manufacturers I would love to see. So hopefully they get more licensing at this scale, and hopefully they produce more Lamborghinis at this scale. I think that of all the models that I have collected so far, this is the best. It is the most expensive, but when I look at it, it blows everything else that I have out of the water. Most of my collection is Kyosho because they have such an amazing catalog of cars, and cars that I have not seen made by anyone else, especially the kind of cars that I'm into, homologation type cars, especially homologation cars that don't have the decals, which I really admire them for making. And some of the other models I have, some LCDs, a Schuko, some Tarmac Works, some Mini GT, which are all good. There's not a model that I've gotten yet that I've been completely disappointed with, except for some paint rash issues. That is another thing that I learned to watch out for from Small Model Collector. And just another shout out for Small Model Collector. I think that from what I can tell, he is an incredible reviewer in terms of getting all the details out there. Oh, another thing that while I'm thinking of him, the badge looks accurately small. Little details like that from his videos have really set the standard for me. I think that there are some things I would have ignored or been fine with that I'm not fine with. One moment while I get something from my room. So this is my first model I ever got. It's the Tamica, I think it's Tamica Premium F40. Accurate rims, even though they're not cut out. Accurate details. Good scaling. Really good detail. It looks really good. And I was happy with this model until I watched his video and he mentioned the panel gap. The panel gap, me personally, I want statuesque like design that looks like I would be looking at the car in a collection. I don't care about opening hoods or trunks. It is a cool feature, but for me, not super important. And I was fine with it. I thought it was a cool addition, but look at that panel gap. Look at that. You can see right through it. Whereas that's something I would have ignored before. After he pointed it out, I cannot unsee it. And there's been a lot of things that he's pointed out that now I cannot unsee. Panel gaps, accurate rims, rims that are actually cut out, accurate badging, paint rash. He has set the standard for me in terms of what I want from the models in my collection. So I thought it was important to give him a shout out because I think he's doing a really great service for this scale and community. He has so many videos that I think he's a very good resource to anyone who's trying to get into this hobby. So I'll just do another quick spin of this, just to get another good visual. I know this is a long video, not very efficient, kind of rambly, but I just thought this would be a nice first video to get out there showing off this car and model. And hopefully in the future, my videos are a little better. But for now, this is what we got. Thanks for watching. Hopefully, the next ones will be even better.